this party started.
This party started.
Woohoo!
Something like that.
Mm-hmm. So did you have fun karaoke last night, Leonard? Is that is that what I saw?
I did host a karaoke night, yes, in a small pub about 10 minutes drive away from where I live. So it was nice and local, nice and close. But that is not why I'm looking like death warmed up. I'm looking like death warmed up because I'm either starting in the middle of or on the tail end of a chest infection. So I'm a little under the weather. Also, it doesn't explain or justify any of the bum fluff that's on my chinny chin chin, but working on it.
Well, in the next 2 minutes, why don't you go get yourself a cup of tea? Since you seem like you could really use one right at this moment.
Yes,
Alyssa,
I probably could.
Alyssa and I, we got this. Double A's got this.
We got this.
Go for it then. In that case, I would go get my cup of tea.
Double A's. Oh God, I feel so old.
Why do you feel old?
I don't know. It's warm. I'm sweaty. My back has been hurting my back for the past couple of weeks. I just made a lame joke like double A's. Like, does anyone really do this anymore?
Well, you got some more A's coming up. Andrew Dickinson says hello, as does Andrew English. Karen Sessions is also joining us today, and Scott, who did the TV write up for the blog, is joining us also. So, Dan Barry, who got to see Deadpool 2.
Boy, don't you give me any spoilers. I will come after you in the comment section. Don't you make me angry. We have Leanne. I see Leanne in the chat.
Yep. It's also Michael P., who we can expect.
Hey, MPO, what's happening, brother?
To chime in quite a bit today with regards to shopping around of The Expanse. I'm assuming that he will chime in and tell us all about that. And Graham Small says, "We hate you all, Dan." We hate you, Dan. Yeah, absolutely.
Dan, behave. I will come for you. I don't care what rules Leonard and Alyssa has on this show. I will come for you. I will find you, and I will burn you.
Absolutely. But everybody was really good about
they better be better. They better be better not giving any spoilers.
Well, people were really good about the Avengers. So does anybody I'm hearing kind of an echo. Does anybody have it going on in the background?
I don't hear it.
I'm wondering if it's Leonard.
What's that?
I'm hearing a little bit of an echo. I'm wondering if it's you.
Hang on.
I think it's gone.
Oh,
well, maybe not. So I don't have to find my headset. Woohoo!
My hair looks horrible.
Oh, we won't even talk about that.
I don't know if there's an echo anywhere. Where? Anyway, where?
What?
So
what?
What? So start us off, Leonard.
I think I will. Welcome along. I've got a cup of tea, no milk, because we've got no milk in the house.
I'm off. I ain't doing this.
Shut up, Andy! Andy! Shut up for a second.
No milk. You need milk.
Shut up for Andy.
Huh?
Shut up for a second. Welcome to Talkin Comic-Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. My name's Leonard Sultana. This is the 13th of May, 2018. Wow. It's been a hectic old couple of weeks. We had our live show from MCon Nottingham last week. We've had a couple of conventions over the last 3-4 weeks. It's been a busy one. plus some news which we're going to get into a little bit later on down the line when it comes to myself. All in all, I'm feeling a little rundown, but we're getting there. Considering that we also have a whole bunch of stuff that's been announced this week, which we're going to get into as well. We're also going to be talking about some of the films we could be seeing at San Diego Comic-Con, but we're also going to be focusing a lot on the television, considering that it has been an absolute, utter bloodbath this week. It's been ridiculous. But we're going to get into all of that with our special guests. We've got ourselves Alyssa Franks from the Friends of Comic-Con Forum. Hello, Alyssa. How are you?
I am, as can be expected. I will take this opportunity to wish myself Happy Mother's Day, since I'm taking myself out for brunch.
Happy Mother's Day, Alyssa.
But that way I get to know exactly where I'm going and what I'm doing. If I organize it myself and don't leave it up to the other gender to figure it out, because in my household they won't.
Okay. Or indeed the child.
Yes. The 18-year-old who is supposedly an adult and is going to be kicked out of the house in a week and a half and doesn't know where he's going to live, but he is okay because he has a tent and can sleep in the backyard.
Fair enough. You see, that's the care and love that a child will give you. So that's fantastic. Yeah, it's good to have you joining us. I don't know if you've been able, because I know that over the last couple of weeks you have been incredibly distracted with life interrupting. But have you been able to have a look at the forum, see what has been the general chat, what's been the mood so far as we get closer and closer to San Diego? What's been the word on the street?
We've been talking a lot about Funko Fun Days since the Funko Fanatics board had their ticket allotment distributed this week for higher posting members and longtime members of the Funko Fanatic board. So a number of people have gotten in that way. And of course, there's a lot of people who are looking forward to the general sale. By all accounts, it's going to be a bloodbath. So, who knows? I'm out of the picture. I am actually, Leonard, where I'm going to hold you to this. We are going to go to the Eisners this year.
Fair enough.
Long time members, watchers will know that we always say we're going to go and we never make it. But this year we're actually going to do it. So if anybody else wants to join us, we'd love to have a table. Let's hang out together. And
I don't think a table is going to be quite on our cards. I think a couple of chairs at the back.
Well, that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah,
let's hang out and maybe have a raise a little something that we're not going to see as an adult.
That sounds like a plan. That sounds like a plan. Right, and I'd also like to welcome another special guest of ours, someone who we haven't had on the show for so long, and it's good to have him back. Andy Behbahkt has joined us. Hello, Andy.
Well, there's nothing special about me, so I don't know where you're getting this.
Oh, what?
No, I'm just loud and annoying, but yeah, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. I don't know if I want to say if I'm excited to talk about all the cancellations because Twitter's been really sad in the past few days. It's not been fun. Like I lost my internet access a couple of days ago for like a half a day. I come back and I see this has been canceled, this has been canceled, this has been canceled, this has been canceled. I'm like, is this what happened when I leave the internet for just half a day? So I see how it is.
It hasn't even been half a day. It's been like 20 minutes and things have changed. It's gone from a cancellation to a rumors of a pickup to a not pickup to it's been a merry-go-round. It's been something else.
I bet that during this show something will get cancelled.
Yeah, this is true. yeah, we're going to get into all of this. It's just going to get ridiculous. But we'll talk about that in a second. But we'd like to welcome everyone who's watching at the moment on YouTube. As always, if you do want to jump in on the Q&A on the YouTube channel, please say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know what you've been getting up to. Let us know if you've been getting any further with your Comic-Con plans. Let us know if there's any shows that you've been paying attention to. I know that Michael P is watching. I don't know if there's anything that he's been watching that may or may not have been cancelled. I don't know. We may hear from him a little bit later. We've got Sarita P who's watching. Happy Mother's Day to all. Great Craig Linders is watching. We've got Andrew Dickinson. Greetings and salutations. We've got people asking why we in the UK are not celebrating Mother's Day. Ours was back in March because that's the way that international date lines work. It just happens like that. We've got ourselves Scott who's watching. Dan Berry is watching. He is rubbing it in, asking, so how was Deadpool 2? No, wait, we've seen it and you haven't. Yes. We haven't got Deadpool 2 yet. That comes out next week for us. So, yeah, fun and games. Karen Session is watching, wishing everyone happy Mother's Day. Graham Small, we all hate you, Dan. I think that's more the UK contingent against... Yeah, I see where that's coming. We've got Leanne D who's watching. We got Wayne Mason watching. Listen, thank you very much indeed for taking part and joining us today. If there's anything you want to talk about in terms of your favourite show, that may or may not have survived the bloodbath of this week, we will get into that. But first things first, let's get into some Comic-Con news. I think, Alyssa, I'll let you open up with this one. This is, I think, a sequel to the announcement we got last year from Mile High Comics. If you want to dive into this one, or what do you want to do?
What it really illustrates, we're talking about the bud plant not exhibiting this year. I'm not having a table this year. And what this really talks to is the move from collectibles, collectible comics, collectible books, floppy stuff, into exclusives, celebrities, pop culture, those types of things. So it really is just a reflection on the change of times. And I mean, he was very courteous about it, Bud Plant, when he said, but it just didn't make any sense for him to go through the effort to show up and exhibit at Comic-Con when the profits were so low and the stress was so high. He's got, being an Inkpot Award winner, he's got a lifetime ticket, so he can go, he's just going to go and hang out and talk to his friends and pick up stuff. And, you know, what we all wish that we could kind of do. I
saw that line. I saw that line in his thing. He was talking about, and you've put it into the script there, that basically it started from around 2008 when he had something like 8 stalls or 8 places on the show floor, and he had a disastrous year, and it just has continued to sink and sink and sink as the years have gone on. And he turned around and said that, yep, I'm an Inkpot winner. I can walk around. I can go and see people. And I was thinking, well, if all the exhibitors are disappearing, who's he going to go and see? Is he going to go and queue up for Hall H as well? I don't think so. That's not what they go for. So, yeah, I saw that and I went, who's he actually going to go and say hello to?
One of the things that came to my mind is I'm talking with Michael Leventhal about doing a con in early July in New York City, 5 Points Festival, and it's a small designer con. And how this relates is that, you know, you can go for a day. You don't have to go for all 5 days. You can just go for a couple of hours, see your buddies, have lunch, and then go away. You don't have to be like us who come there to San Diego for it and spend the whole time there. So I think that's what he was talking about doing. You know, yes, there are not as many of the higher end, you know, the niches that he's into, but you know, I think that he certainly will have a good time. It was kind of interesting, Stan Lee's, just to kind of change the topic here a little bit. But speaking of, again, of old school, we got a tweet this morning that you retweeted from the real Stan Lee. That was a shocker to me. Do you want to read what he said, or?
Absolutely, yeah, I'll get into this. Basically, it was a tweet that he sent out, which people kind of deciphered in a number of ways. A lot of people deciphered it just finally hearing from Stan Lee online, because we kind of thought that he was turning a little bit Howard Hughes and distancing himself and slowly but surely fading away. But no, he turned around and tweeted, "Today was the first day I ever did a tweet myself. Before today, my account was done by others." Right, let's just cut it in half there. That's understandable. That's somebody administrating his account for him. At the end of the day, the guy is legally blind. When you see him doing signings and stuff, and you see very large pieces of tape around areas of the comic, that's so he can see where to sign stuff. He's legally blind. So that I can understand. I can appreciate that. So he's done here. He's actually got fingers to keyboard. So fair play to him. I still do not have control of my Facebook. Someone else is doing it, not me. In other words, whoever he gave out the administration to still has his password. And we know what happens with Facebook, and when you lose your password, or if you decide to not log in for a while, it gets a bit temperamental. So I was trying to decipher from that whether it's a case of he's just somebody he's just not got hold of his password and he's not able to do something on Facebook, or somebody has maliciously got his account.
Which is creepy.
I don't know. It was a little bit creepy. I mean, what did you think of it, Andy, when you saw it? I mean, I presume that it was more a case of it's good to have him back.
I wanted to be happy, but for some reason, I just felt like there's something wrong with this. It feels wrong that he hasn't been in control of his Twitter for all this time. I mean, I understand why he is old, whatnot, and stuff, but the fact that it's like, you know, I mean, we know. I mean, Stan Lee has been in the news a lot lately, so it's, you know, it's very overwhelming at this point. So like, a part of me was like, yes, he's back. He's in control of his own Twitter, but I couldn't be excited for some reason, and I'm just feeling I don't know what's going on with his management, but it's beginning to terrify me, and you know, and I don't want that to be. I don't want to use the word, but I don't want that to be something that eventually takes its toll on him. So it's kind of like a part of me wants to be happy for him, but I feel like I just feel like there's something inside of me. It's telling me, don't be excited about this. This is a red alert sign.
Okay,
Makes sense.
it does make sense. Yeah, that, I mean, okay, I wasn't. I wasn't expecting to go full. Full fear, full alert.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't go.
But to be honest, I wasn't expecting to go there. But it's quite right you do. I think that's the thing. I mean, Karen Session is putting, how do we know that he's actually tweeting? It's a bloody good point. So we don't know. Yeah, I think at this point, if he's tweeting, if he learns how to do the live video bit, then we need proof of life. Stan, we need proof of life from you, man. But no, there we go. Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, at the end of the day, I know that he has been scheduled to appear at conventions, hasn't been appearing at a number of them, but he has showed up at, didn't he show up at a convention in the last month? He has done a convention appearance.
He was at Silicon Valley and he was not well.
Yeah, that's where we saw all those images and videos of like him.
That was it.
He wasn't like. I don't know who to accuse. I don't know who to be angry with about this. Like, I don't know, like, should I be angry with his family? Should I be angry with his management, his publicity team, or his agents? Like, I don't know, like, who to be angry at besides, you know, except for him, because he has done nothing wrong. And I just feel like this is not how Stan Lee should be treated after all the great things he has done.
Correct.
Rant over.
There we go. No, it's a justified rant. So there we go. Okay, right. So that's the real Twitter Lee Twitter account, and we're going to have to keep an eye on this. Michael P. It was sad. I saw him in the lobby, but he could not even say hi. At the end of the day, he is of advancing years, and we have to take that into account. But then it's just how he is being treated in his advancing years, and you're quite right. Okay, I completely and utterly missed Free Comic Book Day. Although I did go and pick up a month and a half's worth of comics today, and it cost me a lot of money. I'm not going to lie. It was catch-up time. But I managed to go and catch up and get my books. One book that I didn't get, like a fool, is Avengers 1. And I also didn't get is Action Comics 1000 out yet? Alyssa, you've put this on the script. Is that coming or is it out now?
I believe it's out. I did not get it myself. I took a look, and apparently it was the #1 bestseller of this past week. Oh, there goes Leonard. an emergency thing. Yes. So according to ICV2's listing, it was the #1 bestseller this past month for some strange reason. One thing that struck me in looking at ICV2's list of the top 20. I'm still talking. Just wait.
No, keep going.
Hold them up again. I didn't see them. Hold them up again.
I will do. Go on, keep going, Alyssa.
So one thing that's interesting to me is that they're putting a lot of the real numbers. They aren't playing around with numbers. So you're seeing a lot of like 700, 936. You got Detective Comics is coming up with their 1000th issue. And I appreciate having the longevity of the books listed on the front cover. They should be proud of that number. I made it to 1,000 Action Comics, and that's, and I don't think in this rush to do #1s, and I'm going to put out another #1. People are forgetting the fact that a lot of people like to have that longevity there. So that's my little monologue about comics. So show us your highlights quickly.
Well, the reason I wasn't actually going to do that, but the reason why I did is because I got into a little bit of a Twitter thing the last couple of days, certainly on Thursday and Friday, because diversity in comics have raised their ugly head again because of the whole business with a Kickstarter which has been put by Richard C. Mayer, which is producing a physical comic. It's raised something like $280,000 to produce this thing, which I'm sorry, you could set up your own publishing house with that amount of money. You could pay your artists and your creative team DC money to produce this comic and a full run of it. But it's just a little indie print thing. And then there was some people and retailers that refused to carry the thing in stores. Basically, they felt that there was the whole Comicsgate thing and it's feeling it a bit toxic and to just distance it. At which point, then the Comicsgate people just launched themselves at whoever decided to make any comment about it. I retweeted something about someone basically supporting comics industry, at which point I just got launched at by a whole bunch of people, including someone who turned around and said that I don't buy comics anymore. I don't support comics because if I support Heather Antos, if I support trans creators, if I support diversity in comics, proper diversity in comics, then I don't actually love comics. And I'm just a hipster that downloads them all. Oh, bloody really? Is that right? is what I say to that. I mean, the title.
Along with a finger, I hope.
Yeah, Doomsday Clock. I've got all the my Star Wars ones I've got going. I'm going to take this opportunity, by the way, to shout out to OK Comics in Leeds. I basically have a little bit of a standing order with OK Comics to get my the Marvel Star Wars books, to get the Mr. Miracle, Animosity, which I get, Power of Dark Crystal, which is issue 12 of 12. Finally, it's come. This full run of that. This best looking book I buy. It's gorgeous. But I also ask for Scotty Young, and I get I Hate Fairyland, which is good. Which is I Hate Fairyland. Here's issue number 17. Yeah. Here's the F Fairyland variant.
Wait. You can't say the word, but you're allowed to show the word.
No. There's the wraparound cover variant. By the way, I didn't ask for these. He put these to one side. Second variant, number 18 variant. I've got 7 copies of the 2 issues. But I'm not going to lie, I'm a collector, so there we go.
That's one of the reasons why I backed away from collecting, is because 7 variants of this. As a matter of fact, Cyden, Cayden, I'm not so Caden, says that there were 8 different covers for that Action 1000.
Oh, for Action. Well, yes. I'm not going to lie though, I did have a look at some of them. They weren't great. They weren't great. The best looking one was the Forbidden Planet variant here in the UK. Jock did a gorgeous.
I would have loved that
Superman.
Say it again.
Did you see this?
Gorgeous.
No, it's gorgeous.
It was gorgeous. It was beautiful.
I got the New York accent. No, sorry.
I'm just saying.
But I'm going to try and pull it up. Well, tell you what, do you want to just dive in very quickly with the New York Comic-Con ticket sale while I pull this up?
We also did get an announcement. I'm not sure if it happened this week, but we also got an announcement that New York Comic-Con, and I had it up. And why am I not being able to find it? Fan verification.
Why is that, Alyssa?
What?
I'm kidding. Sorry, I'm being a troll.
Yeah, no worries. You distracted me. I'm easily derailed. Don't do that to me.
Okay, I'll just look pretty.
New York Comic-Con fan verification has been announced, along with the first ticket sale that's been announced. The fan verifications went out to people who had been registered and went in 17 and 18. So you should have gotten that one by now. You need to register shortly. The pre-sale is going to be on June 10th. This is like pre-reg for San Diego Comic-Con. And so that's going to happen on June 10th. And the general sale will happen on July 15th. So they're giving themselves a full 30 days between the 2 sales, which is kind of interesting that they're taking so long. But, I think that's good for them.
It's nice also for fans, I think, because that way, it's less stressful than just getting a week in advance, being like, oh no, I'm gonna be at work that day, or no, I'm not gonna be near my computer. So at least this way, people can plan in advance, being like, hey boss, I gotta be up for a few hours because # conventions are important, and just simple as that.
Absolutely. I think it works out well, and I'm glad they're doing it this way. Last year, and people correct me if I'm wrong. I'm watching the chat there, but last year you had to enter an email address in for somebody that was fan verified. So, for example, if my son was fan verified and I wanted to buy tickets for me and my son, I would have to enter in his email address. So you're going to want to have all of that information within your buying group. Buying groups are a bit more restricted with New York Comic-Con because it's a little bit more. They ask for more information. There's less of a checks and balances. So go group with people you trust. I think is the way to shorten that down. And so Andrew Dickinson is saying in other con news.
That's other con news, and we can come back to that.
I love how people are still talking about hotels in the chat.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, in terms of the actual sale, I mean, I was quite interested in the fact that they are doing a very quick turnaround from their pre-sale to their the van verification of the actual open sale. There's like a 2-day window, something like that. It's really quite a quick turnaround. Yeah, both sales happening on the Sunday, as a couple of people are pointing out. I actually pointed out on my wrap up of it that the actual on sale takes place the weekend before Comic-Con, which means either you've flown in, or you've got yourself sorted, or this is going to take some money out of your spend.
Oh God.
This is going to take some money out, taking some money out.
Horror.
As it just hits both Andy and me. Oh
yeah.
my God.
So it basically means that it may mean missing out on an exclusive or two, but that's just the way it's going to work. Unfortunately, it is.
You're so happy about it.
No, it's not that. It's just that, yeah, if you are wanting to do New York and San Diego Comic-Con, basically you're going to have some money to one side, and yeah, there you go. Michael P saying pre-sale takes place during ATX. So, but then again, it was gonna take place during something. If it took place like the week after, if it took place during Comic-Con, then there'd be some serious.
Oh, there would be like an East Coast West Coast battle then. But like, I swear, it would be. That would be World War III. The East Coast and West Coast are gonna kill each other because you can't just do that. Don't put out bad ideas in the world. People can listen. Heck, maybe the president's listening right now. He's like, I'm making this a law.
West Coast, man. Okay, moving on. Right, right. But yeah, it's interesting. I was also interested in the fact that they are fan verifying the pre-sale is actually a 2-year capture, which means you didn't actually have to attend in 2017. It also includes 2016 attendees as well. So that's quite a large window of people that can apply for the pre-sale badge sale.
I'm also not sure if you had to have attended in 17 or 18, 16 or 17.
Yeah, you're right, because it's fan verified fans.
Right,
and then they're cancelling those that don't actually restart their account. I actually thought it may be a case of just clearing out the cobwebs of the IT. Yeah, that makes sense.
My head is spinning.
It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, but I think it's a valid to put it on the list and just make sure that, and your point about it being the week before San Diego. Oh my God.
What happened?
It was gonna fall on something. I mean, come on, we've got so many conventions now. It was gonna fall on something.
Is that a bad problem to have, being the fact that we're nerds? 20 years ago it was nerds shame, but now nerdom is it's a new cool thing. So it's we shouldn't. It's a good when there's a ton of conventions, but at the same time they could freaking schedule these things a little bit better.
I'm going to use that as a segue into, do you think that, and this is going to go out to both you and Andy,
Sure.
Leonard and Andy, do you think that with these rounds of cancellations that we've had in television this year, and it seems like an excessive amount of nerd shows have been canceled, that there's a little bit of a backlash happening in TV land?
Little. I don't know what this word means. I mean, I can only think of big backlash because, woof. I mean, all the hashtags, all the trends, all the petitions. It's been 1 week. 1 week. And this much. Wait till next week.
Indeed. Apparently. This I will be talking about this show a little bit later on. This week has been a show that's the Ultimates being held in Blackpool, where a number of the cast members, including Elizabeth Henstridge, has been appearing at the show and doing a couple of Agents of Shield's shows, and apparently they turned around and said either earlier on today or yesterday, that they will be finding out tomorrow whether Agents of Shield has been renewed or cancelled.
Don't say the C word.
Don't say the C word. Okay.
Yeah,
but
we can't.
A lot of Agents of Shield fans will be paying very close attention to social media tomorrow, because it's going to be all about that. So I mean, shall we dive into this then? Because I want to try and obviously focus on a number of the shows that will be kind of representing at San Diego Comic-Con. But I will also say that it's reflective of what has actually happened with this week, especially with, I think the best example is Brooklyn Nine-Nine, in that we have seen, like you say, a fan backlash, which has allowed that show to be picked up by a direct market distributor, which is no, it was NBC that picked it up, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was Hulu that passed. That was it. So it's the case of the whole what we could actually see at Comic-Con, because at the end of the day, San Diego Comic-Con is a platform to advertise to the wider world. Let's remind ourselves why it exists. So these companies will want to get the most out of their investment, even if it is a cast-off of an original production. So now it's a case of they bought the thing. We need to keep it galvanized. Will we see Brooklyn Nine-Nine at San Diego Comic-Con? What do you think, Andy?
Because we have never seen him at Comic-Con in past years, I doubt it will be suddenly coming up to Comic-Con this year. I mean, I know, for example, I remember how much your mother came to Comic-Con for their final season, but that's because that was their final season. But I don't think I mean, it depends on what NBC. They don't have a lot of shows they usually bring. I think it's usually like USA Network and Sci-Fi, like from the NBC Universal company that brings shows. Like with NBC, I'm honest to God trying to think if the Blacklist doesn't go to Comic-Con, right?
It has done. It has done.
It has done, yeah.
It hasn't done. It hasn't done recently, to the point where I actually saw an advert for it on telly about 2 weeks ago and was stunned it was still running. I didn't actually think it was still going. Then again, there's a couple of shows I thought had been and gone, but no, I thought the Blacklist had gone. But no, it's still up and running, and yeah, they came 2 years ago and 3 years ago.
I'm gonna Google NBC SDCC 2017 because I usually do like all the press stuff for CW and stuff like that. So it's like I don't really keep a good eyes on what NBC does. But I would say this: I'll be pleasantly surprised if Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which I don't really watch. I've seen a couple episodes, but hashtag I can't stand Andy Samberg, so that's it. But it seems like a really cool show, and if they decide to bring it to Comic-Con, that would be great. But I would be shocked. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't bring it, despite the fact that they picked it up.
Dan Berry's quite rightly saying that NBC has brought a lot. They do a big offsite at the Tin Fish, which they do. We could be seeing something there.
Timeless now. Just remember, Timeless goes to Comic-Con, which I think the finale is airing tonight. So we will see if it gets renewed, unless it gets seed, the C word.
So there we go. Anyway, right. I think also another big cancellation, which was a big. Well, there's two, I think, which were two big cancellations, which hit home very, very hard. Number one, Lucifer.
Yeah.
Which has represented at Comic-Con. Obviously, it's very much a genre show which is in our market. That's been cancelled. I've been surprised that there hasn't been more of a galvanization to get that picked up at another channel.
Oh, there is. There is.
You think?
Yeah. No, I mean, Deadline posted like almost immediately after the cancellation happened that they're here, that they're shopping around to streaming networks and streaming and services and cable, and I've talked to a source or two, and they are saying the same thing, that yes, they are looking to move, make sure that Lucifer gets picked up somewhere. And I fell in love with Lucifer this year. Because I heard Tom Welling was going to be on it, and Tom Welling is one of my bases. I was like teenager, and so I wanted to watch it. So I watched the whole show, and I fell in love with it. And then I got pissed it got canceled, but it's gonna be fine. It's gonna get picked up somewhere. You know, I would not be shocked if Hulu picks up Lucifer because they're already streaming all the episodes, or maybe the DC Universe app will pick it up. So
that would be interesting. That would be interesting.
Because then you have another set of programming you can offer to the fans. Because we have Titans coming out later this year. We have Swamp Thing, if it gets picked up the series, that will air next year. Metropolis being redeveloped. We have Young Justice coming out this year. We have Harley Quinn. So, you know, Lucifer joining that network would be, I think that would make a lot of sense.
That would make so much sense.
Yeah. You could have Lucifer crossover with Swamp Thing or something like that. That would be fun.
Oh, that would be great. You know, and then especially with Constantine.
Well, he's now stuck on the CW, so we won't be seeing Constantine for quite a while, unless it's someone else playing him. Finally,
you know what? I've actually no problem with that, because watching him play around with the Legends of Tomorrow team, it's been good to kind of like see that dichotomy there. I quite like that. I've enjoyed
Constantine is officially the king now. Just tomorrow, I'm just gonna say that. I mean, Sarah Ladd is still the queen. Don't worry. Like, why can I friends? I'm still with you. But yeah, like Constantine is he's the king of the Wave Rider now, and like all the boys on that ship can just move along.
Fair enough.
I'm a dick. I know that.
Fair enough. Okay, right. The next thing then, the other big show is, of course, The Expanse, which I'm stunned and shocked that someone has decided to cancel this thing. Have the numbers really been that bad, considering that every single time an episode comes on, any time that this show takes a breath, so my social media just lights up like a Christmas tree. It is there's a passionate fan base there.
Well, that works.
It's one of the strongest sci-fi shows out there. Andrew Dickinson, Mr. P, in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, it's unbelievable. So I mean, has there been any word of that being picked up at all?
I can Google. You guys
go for it. Leanne D. It was the highest rated show on Sci-Fi last week. I'm just that one came out of nowhere for me. As a cancellation, that came out of nowhere.
I haven't seen the numbers for what it brought in, but the other side to it is how much it costs to produce. And my guesstimate would be that it was a high production cost. Right. Now, if Sci-Fi Channel wants to be Sci-Fi Channel, it has to do these name brand shows. That has to be in front of space-based science fiction. If it's not, then they're going to revert back to the days of WrestleMania. You know, and if that's what they want to do, that's their choice. They own the franchise. However, hopefully Netflix will pick it up. Well,
I have some good news. So Deadeye Hollywood posted this when it got canceled, saying this, and I quote: "The current first season of The Expanse will be the space drama's last one on Sci-Fi. The cable network has decided not to renew the show for a fourth season, with the last episode slated to air in early July. Alka Television Group, which fully finances and produces the Critical Praise series, plans to shop it to other buyers."
Right.
I quite like the comment that Graham Smalls put, and it's well observed. Netflix already show it overseas. They do part finance the show, so hopefully they'll take it on as a complete run. So who knows?
But who owns it in the States though? Like on streaming?
Yeah, Michael P is actually reminding us there. They do not want to pay for all of the rights. At the end of the day, they only had the production and transmission rights of the TV adaptation. So, okay. Yeah.
Amazon, Michael is saying Amazon is considered the best fit.
Yeah.
I'm going to take whatever Michael says. I'm going to take him at his.
People was afraid to argue with him about it. It's more like, no, I won't argue with him. Whatever he says is right.
Who are we talking about? Michael Expanse P. He has changed. He has changed his middle name legally, right? I believe he has. Yeah, I heard that was the case. So cool. I mean, fingers crossed. I mean, and fingers crossed we hear soon.
Because... sorry.
No, go on.
No, I was going to say, I almost wonder if one of the other reasons why they're canceling that show is because I don't want to put the blame on just one show, but because we know Krypton has been a huge success for sci-fi, but it's also one of the most expensive shows for the network. And I almost wonder if they're cutting back on some shows to benefit the budget for season 2 of Krypton, which I'm assuming will be renewed sometime this week with only 2.
Has Krypton been the hit that you say? Because I mean, I kind of, obviously, as somebody who watches the social media of things and not necessarily the numbers, because at the end of the day, that is an indicator of the excitement that a show is generating. When Krypton goes live, it doesn't have the same kind of energy online.
That's the problem. It airs at 10 p.m. But here's the thing: I know that Krypton it's doing the Riverdale thing of that. It's okay. So I saw a commercial somewhere that apparently HBO Nordic, like every Thursday, they put up the new episode of Krypton right after it's aired in the US. So I picture that Krypton probably has very good streaming numbers internationally, which is probably why shows like Just Tomorrow, Riverdale, and Dynasty have been renewed because the ratings for those shows are not that great. Like, not the Live Plus 3 are not that good. So I think that it's probably something like that. They might look at the streaming number and be like, yeah, it's probably worth it. I don't know what the deal was with Expanse, but again, because of how long they worked on Krypton, I mean, this show got announced back in 2014, and it didn't premiere until this year. So I don't think Sci-Fi would just be like, okay, we have this critical acclaim show, let us throw it away after one season. But if they throw it away, then I feel at least DC and Warner will be trying to shop it around somewhere. Like, Krypton will not be going away anytime soon.
I'm curious if Krypton is going to get used, and excuse the word, but there is a reasoning for it. In used the same way that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is used. People when they had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it had those really low numbers and real bad critical responses in seasons 2 and 3. The production basically turned around, and I believe there were some people from high up in Marvel who turned around and said, it's never going to go away. We're never going to cancel this thing. We could have numbers down in the basement. It's a running, ongoing advertisement for the Marvel Cinematic Universe while the films aren't out there. It's something that keeps the energy going for when the movies come out, and then the TV show continues bubbling it along, and so on. At this point, the DCEU, we are waiting on Aquaman. And that's pretty much all we've got coming down the pipe. I mean, we've got Shazam, we've got Aquaman. I mean, I know that we were announced a Flash movie. I believe have they lost director of that again?
No. They have 2 directors now. The Rise of Spider-Man Homecoming movie are going to be helming it, and I know they're actively casting for that film. So
that's on the way. And Green Lantern Corps.
That's in development as far as I know, but I know that they're working Wonder Woman 2. They're going to start shooting, I think, next month or something.
Yeah.
And Suicide Squad 2 is in pre-development, pre-production.
2020 release, something like that. So I'm just wondering if they're going to use Krypton as kind of like something to keep the energy going.
Well, Krypton is not part of the DCEU. Like, initially it was, but now it's not. Like, they just kind of said no, it's not part of it. And now, I mean, if you look at the show, it's definitely not part of DCEU. They have some like inspirations from like the sets and like the design and stuff like that. But for example, when the whole Zod family is African American, and so that there's one that we've seen a particular DCEU character appear on Krypton in a very different way. So yeah, it's not part of the EU. So I don't think Krypton is being used as a way to promote like the other movies, but it's like it's essentially the DC TV version of Game of Thrones. So I think that's why they'll probably keep it around. But no, Krypton has been really great. But let's go back on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2, Season 3, that's when it really got critically acclaimed. Like I didn't see much bad critique at all for S.H.I.E.L.D. back in season 2 and 3. Season 1, obviously, there was bad critique for that, but yeah, it's interesting when studios that owns a channel can be like, no, you don't have the power you think you do. We will tell you when you can renew something or cancel something. But hey, I mean, I want more S.H.I.E.L.D., so why not?
I mean, you must have been thrilled when you heard about the whole the DC television series, the whole lot of them were renewed about a month ago.
I was really tired that day, so I kind of was like, good, that's good. I mean, but I was mostly happy for Black Lightning because Black Lightning has been my favorite DC show in the CW this year, and yeah. No, but I mean, yeah, I'm glad they got renewed. But I was really devastated that Inhumans got canceled. I mean, what am I gonna do with? Hold on.
Let me wipe the one small tear away.
With this?
With my lockjaws. I know. Lockjaws.
I stood in line for 25 minutes, and he's dusty.
Just hold that up. Hold that up there for a second. There you go. That's the same kind of acting representation of Anton Mount.
But
congratulations.
Hold on. Don't you bash him. He's a great actor. He just got horrible scripts.
I'll go along with that. No, that I will.
And now he's going to be Captain Pike on Star Trek Discovery. So
yes, and he's got a new haircut. Whee! So there we go.
He feels very pretty.
Yeah. Graham Small, worst Bond villain ever, Andy. By the way.
What?
You are now the worst Bond villain ever.
Does he have a lockjaw in the movie? What does he do?
So
I've never seen James Bond.
Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to stroke the top of Lockjaw's head and say, "I've been expecting you, Mr. Bond."
I've been expecting you, Mr. Bond.
We are gift correcting that. That we are creating a gift.
Wait. Do I need to be more evil than that? Okay, hold on. I can do it more evilly. I've been expecting you, Mr. Bond.
There you go. All done. We're sorted. Right.
Let's get back to all of the canceled shows, and I know we're not supposed to say the C word, but some of the other ones that surprised me were a bit more on the mainstream, like Designated Survivor. I mean, granted, I haven't been watching that one, the Kiefer Sutherland presidential movie series, but we've also seen Scandal. Quantico,
I'm shocked about that Quantico that it got canceled. I knew Scandal was getting its final season, but Quantico was like, I thought that show was doing well.
Yeah. Right, exactly. And I mean, one of the ones that I particularly enjoyed was Deception. I really liked that show.
From Greg Berlanti.
So there's been a couple of shows that have really been Kevin Can Wait. Superior Donuts, Scorpion.
Superior Donuts? Was that a show?
That was actually quite funny. That was actually quite a funny show. But let me just go back. You remember when I was saying that there was a show that I actually was stunned was still running? Scorpion was it. I thought that had been cancelled years ago. Has that gone?
I'm surprised Elementary. I'm surprised that Elementary is still going.
True. Okay, I'm done with that.
The thing about Elementary is that it just had its season opener like 2 days ago, and they renewed it. So,
is it renewed? Is that renewed? Is that renewed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What's renewed?
Elementary.
Right, fair enough.
For season 7.
Mm-hmm.
Another show that's come up in the chat, and this one is another one which I'm surprised at because my social media lights up whenever it's on. Every single clip that I've seen has been funny. Is the Last Man on Earth? I thought that was doing well. Right. I think that's the general theme of this week. It's shows that we thought were doing well. So, and the rug's just been pulled. They must have some serious content down the pipe to fill these gaps because.
It's either that or I think that there are so many good shows. There's so much competition for a limited amount of eyeballs that they don't. A show has to be exceptional and have low operating costs, because I mean shows that should make it are not making it, like a political satire called The Mayor. Didn't get any traction last year. Is being canceled after one season because it just doesn't have, nobody's sitting down and watching 3 hours of television every night. People just aren't doing it.
Speak for yourself, honey. Boy, if you see how busy my nights are these days, woo!
But I think that was kind of the point that I was trying to open up with. I mean, Wisdom of the Crowd has been canceled. That was a smart, little procedural show that was happening. Of course, Living Biblically, the originals was canceled. Valor and was canceled, as you said. Last Man on Earth. I'm sorry.
Justifiably so. Why Valor was canceled?
I'm sorry.
It was justified why Valor was canceled.
Yeah. I'm kind of going through. I've just got a list of shows a lot of shows that were canceled. As Mark has said, The Exorcist was canceled, which was a good little show. I mean, he can speak to it more because I've only seen the first couple of episodes. But as I said in the intro of this, I think that there's a backlash happening against all of these kind of quirky shows. That people, they just don't want to take a risk on them. They're expensive to produce, and they don't want to take a risk on them.
I think you're right about the whole business of cost as well. I mean, one of the big renewals that got announced was, of course, Big Bang Theory, and that thing costs nothing to produce. The most expensive thing on that show is the cast, which is just it's such a simple thing to produce. Another show that someone's pointed out. So we've got Owen who's saying about, it's not just those that have been cancelled, but also the shows that are not being picked up. Wayward Sisters, which didn't get picked up. Which
I was sad about that.
I heard some great things about that pilot. The Greatest American Hero, which I was really looking forward to. I was really up for that show. That's not getting picked up at all. It's ridiculous. ABC will have 5 hours on Thursday to fill. Fox is going to lose 5 hours. Is apparently going to be transferring it over to football.
That's crazy. I'm sorry. That's crazy. They're giving up programming for effing football.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Apparently, Stephen Amell is Facebook Live or living a press conference. It hasn't started yet, but wondering why. Okay, well, it's not like his show's getting cancelled anytime soon. So,
sadly, what? I didn't say anything. What?
Harsh.
I didn't say anything. Stop accusing me.
Okay, right. What else are we? I mean, it's. I think you've got a point, Alyssa, about the whole business of being very cost effective. But I also think there is every single channel is looking for its Game of Thrones. It's looking for. I mean, we've been talking for the last 3-4 years about this being the golden age of television. But to be a golden age of television, you need those absolute moment-grabbing shows. Those shows that we still talk about when we have the water cooler moment. The ones that we talk about not just at the water cooler, but on social media. That there's a conversation still going. And at the end of the day, they are looking for that, and then discarding everything else.
Well, the problem with that is the fact that so I think there's 3 reasons why networks are struggling the way they are. One is because no one watches live TV anymore. Or let me rephrase it. The majority of fans of HTV show are not watching their shows live anymore. There is now apps. There are iTunes. There is Hulu. There is Amazon. There is what else is there? Like there's all these other opportunities that you can schedule your own TV experience. No one watches live TV anymore. The thing is, like, the broadcast networks have not gotten through their heads yet. The second thing is that there are too many episodes in these these genre shows, procedure shows. It's like, I did a Flash podcast, and I'm exhausted. Like, I love the Flash, I really do. But that show would benefit so much more from a production standpoint and a story perspective if it was less episodes. But no, we gotta have 22, 23 episodes for all these damn shows, and that's why, fans fall off. That's why, you know, because they're, you know, if you're going through October till May, you know, we have lives to live. Like we can't just watch TV all the time. And the third thing is that I feel that trying to be Game of Thrones is not what they should be striving for. They should be striving for just producing good content with good budgets, good writers, good acting, but not overdo it. And that's what I feel like. So like that with like Fox and NBC and ABC and CBS and CW they're killing their own show in some ways by overdoing it with all these episodes, all these, you know, these lack of chances that they have in their shows. Like Fox, like again, Fox and NBC have been there where I've been struggling for the last 4 years because they cancel shows I love, where I'm like, well, they're great shows, but oh no, it doesn't get 5 million viewers. Oh no, we have to cancel it. Rant over.
No, it's fair enough. Mark, I mean, not only that, as he said something, but everyone's pretty much agreeing with him on the statement. I turned around and said that we're in the golden age of television. Mark Serby, we aren't in the golden age of television anymore. We're in the overly saturated good TV era now. No time to watch any.
Mm-hmm.
It's harsh but fair. He's absolutely right. Sarita P, a lot of this generation doesn't watch TV like we do. Michael P, Marvel TV is guilty of too many episodes. I believe with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it was 22 episodes. I think that isn't it down to something like 12? The new deal that they've done with NBC, they've shortened the amount of episodes, which kind of help. Yeah.
Michael P said Marvel TV is guilty of too many episodes as well. But here's the thing with Marvel TV, that we only have Age of S.H.I.E.L.D. that has 22 episodes. But here's the thing: they do separate arcs. Like they do like the what is it called? Pods. Is that what they're calling?
Yeah, they're doing them as pods now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a stupid term. I don't know why they're calling it that. But anyway, they're doing it as pods, and that's why it's exhausting. It feels like you're watching mini seasons. But the thing that with something like the CW, it's like it's one arc across the whole season. It's never like here's 10 episodes of one villain and here's 15 episodes of another villain. It's never like that.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm ranting a lot today. I'm sorry. I didn't.
I think this is a week. Listen, if there's a week to justify a rant, this is the week to justify it.
I haven't gone through just to kind of shift to what the networks are coming down the pike with. Shift the conversation. There's 2 shows which seem of interest. As opposed to last year, I believe when I took a look through the new shows, there seemed like there was a lot more shows that were interesting to us of the geek pop culture genre. But this year there's only 2, and one is simply because Nathan Fillion is in it. It has nothing to do with there being a fantastic twist to the storyline. That's called The Rookie. It's the oldest rookie at the LAPD is the premise of it. So it's a procedural show. Of course, we love looking at Nathan, but
Yes. I'm not gonna lie. He's a good-looking man.
Yeah, he is. We agree. But the other show is called The Passages, and it's been ordered to series, a character-driven thriller about a secret government medical facility experimenting with a dangerous virus that could either cure all disease or cause the downfall of the human race. The thing that's interesting about that is that it's got the ongoing premise. It's not just like Outbreak was a few years ago, which was, we have this outbreak in Atlanta, and we're going to spend the whole season talking about how this outbreak happens. And then what happens when we get renewed for season 2? Oh, well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So at least The Passage has a second. It could have a second season. And if they follow Andy's suggestion, who has his mic muted, so we can hear. There you go.
They never listen to me though. Like they're like, who's this rock kid? He doesn't have any good ideas.
Well, I mean, if they go with 13 episodes, and or spread them out a bit more like The Walking Dead does, it would be interesting. It could be interesting, but there aren't as many fun shows.
Well, I wanted to ask Alyssa, and you too, Leonard, of course. The CW picked up, 5 new shows. Were any of them of interest to you? I mean, I know, Leonard, we were talking about Weight Watchers, and I was very disappointed because I don't watch Supernatural. I've only seen 3 seasons of it, but that sounded really like a really promising premise. Plus, that Supernatural universe seems very male dominated. So it's kind of it would have been nice to see that show kind of spin up. Like, was there any of the 5 shows that CW picked up that you were like, I want to watch this?
I'm not.
Well, I'm rather glad that iZombie is continuing. I think that I'm glad that that's still got an audience out there. Not really. I mean, is Riverdale still a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been renewed. What shows were you interested?
What? I'm sorry, what?
You bloody heard me. I'm sorry, but
I'm kidding. I love Riverdale.
Listen, I have not been a big Riverdale watcher, but my other half has. At which point we were just sort of, I was on my phone doing some website stuff. Caroline was watching Riverdale, so I was hearing what was going on, and all I could, and I kept doing this. I kept going, what the hell? Carry on. It's like, what the bloody? And you just, what on earth is going on with that show? Is just
I will pledge a month of Patreon for you if you record yourself watching at least 2 episodes of Riverdale and just react. I will literally
a live stream reaction of Riverdale.
Yes. 2 episodes.
Okay. You sadist, you. Okay.
I like entertainment.
Fine. You're the person that would have been in the Roman games watching the blood splattering down there. You'll be watching the lion being launched at the gladiators, and you're going, more popcorn, please. More popcorn.
Here's the thing. I'm brown, so I probably would not be on the top of that building. I would probably be the servant and be like, hey, King, that kind of looks pretty fun. And he's like, get back to your cage. I'm like, okay.
Fair enough. Right. Okay. Let's move on. Right. I mean, let's have a quick rundown of a couple of comments. It was 13 episodes that has been suggested or has been picked up for NBC after being cancelled by Fox on Thursday. Leanne D is asking, any word on Legion on FX? Nothing yet. They
haven't aired their all their season episodes yet, right?
No, they haven't. The thing about Legion is it's very much like a British production in that they produce the entire series. It's not something they will cancel mid-season through, but they could just cancel it, and this production has been made. It's such an engineering effort to make that show, very much like Westworld. So at the end of the day, it's difficult to kind of judge. But both of those shows on the back of this week could easily be cut down. Who knows? So Lister Smeg, not sure any show would want to follow in the footsteps of The Walking Dead. Having a few good seasons that you coast on is way too long. Is a risky way to go. The man's got a point. I've been hearing great things about Fear the Walking Dead. That's getting some serious traction at the moment.
Does anyone like that show?
Apparently so. No. Apparently this last season and a half.
I think Alyssa is trying to say something. Are you raising your hand?
I do. It's on my list of shows that I'm actually going to watch. And a while back, Andy has asked if I liked any of the CW shows. And yeah, the Roswell, New Mexico show.
I'm excited for that. I never saw the original one, but the fact they're doing an immigrant spin on that, and I like the writer who's going to be showrunning that show. So I'm like, I'm going to give this a watch. I think the title is a little bit unnecessary. I feel like you could just call it Roswell, but maybe it's a property like copyright thing, whatever.
It's basically about a daughter of an undocumented immigrant who comes back to town and meets a high school friend who happens to be an alien. So that's that's the kind of the premise of it, which sounds pretty good. Sounds like it could be fairly interesting. So there are a couple of other shows out there, but there's not the plethora of shows that there were the year before. One of the questions I had to everybody out there is, how many shows do you watch live?
At least one per every night.
Okay.
I watch two.
Two per week?
Yep. Religiously. Legion and Westworld.
Yeah.
Well, when I say live, considering we can't get them over here, I watch them as quickly as I can.
Right, and I'm kind of talking live plus 24, just so that we as a community understand the demographics of what the advertisers are looking for, because that's what they're looking for: live plus 24, or live plus 48, or live plus 72, and
a lot of numbers,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
well, I mean, we're seeing it on the Q&A right now. Michael P at 1, have a guess. Karen Session 1, Graham Small none because we don't. Leanne D 2, Legion and Expands. Karen Session, Big Bang Theory. We actually have a Big Bang Theory fan in the building. Excellent stuff. I mean, it's still the highest rated comedy on television, so there is an audience out there. So Lister of Smeg, Into the Badlands, so 1. Andrew Dickinson, Game of Thrones, Stanberry, none. Yeah, it's into single 1 and 2 at the most.
And this goes back to Andy's earlier point that, and this is exactly why the advertisers are having, the networks and the advertisers are having such a hard time dealing with it, because nobody watches television live.
Yeah.
If only someone would listen to me.
Yes, but they should hire you and listen to you. Absolutely, Andy.
All I wanted was a good Iris and Barry wedding on my television screen, but I didn't even get that, and yet I'm giving free ideas to TV advertisers. It's fine. No shade, no sass. That's fine.
Right. Let's kind of wrap this section up then. So, obviously, we've got more to come. We've got more news to come. It's like, so we're going to find out more about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the next 24, 48 hours. We've got other shows, other stations that are going to announce what they're going to be doing. When it comes to San Diego Comic-Con, I mean, there was a comment from Mark Serby, which I'm going to have to find, which was basically on the lines of, it's going to be very interesting in terms of new TV shows at San Diego Comic-Con. Will there be any? I think there will, but I think you're going to see it like we saw last year. We're going to get a lot of push for the new shows from people like Amazon, from Hulu, from Netflix. It's gonna; those are the companies that are going to push.
DC Universe.
I'm DC Universe. Yeah, I think the established order, your NBCs, your ABCs of the world, they almost kind of it's like they expect the audience to show up. They seem reliant on their own existence. But we're in a different landscape now, and I think they evolve or die, man.
It's very arrogant to think that it's like, oh, we don't have to do anything; they will just show up. It's fine.
Yeah. That's where they are at the moment. Yeah, I like it. I see what you mean, Mark, and I agree. Yeah.
Now let me ask you as a quick question. Is there any show that you're waiting like status on for renewals? In the next in the next coming 5 days, because
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm sorry, but for the last 2 seasons, it has been stellar television. It's been I mean, I've been a little bit rocked by this last season with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in space, but I've enjoyed it. I mean, you cannot take away from the Ghost Rider season and from the Mainframe seasons, which those 2 seasons stood up. They stood up so strong, so strong.
Excellent writing.
Yes. So yeah, I'm looking for find out about that. So
I
that's
have Shield and Gotham on my list. That's all.
No, I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious to see where what's gonna happen.
I'm interested in Timeless, and yeah, that's one of the ones. And Magicians on the Sci-Fi Channel. I think the Magicians on the Sci-Fi. We haven't heard about that one, correct?
No, but this is I think will be renewed. That seems to be like
it would make sense, but after canceling The Expanse.
Did you hear Michael P? They canceled The Expanse. I'm sorry.
But
Mr. Bond, so glad to see you. All going part of my plan.
So that's those are kind of the shows that I was wondering about myself. One show, just to kind of get into what's happening this coming week, since we're segueing into next week in television, one show that I've been watching is Cameron's Sci-Fi History. If anybody else has been watching it on, I think it's on AMC. It's quite interesting in that it takes sci-fi from a movie perspective and talks about the cultural changes that was brought about by the innovation of science fiction in the 50s and 60s and 70s. 2001 obviously played a huge role, as did Star Trek and Star Wars. And it goes into that with Spielberg and Cameron and Ripley and a number of famous people that so it's an interesting, the movers and the shakers out there. So if you're not catching that one, I give a suggestion to watch that show. Coming up because that's a limited series and it's not so much in terms of the cancellations.
Alyssa, by the way, but Magicians has been renewed for a 4th season.
Oh, it was renewed? Okay, good. I thought it was, but I wasn't quite sure, and I was wondering, given Krypton and the Magicians.
Have you watched Krypton, by the way?
I haven't. It's on my list of things to watch. My DVR is full. I've got a 6 terabyte DVR and it is full of shows.
Well, listen. If you really love me, you're gonna watch Krypton first.
But
what?
But I want to catch up on Fear of the Walking Dead.
Who cares? It's everyone died, and then it's a Walking Dead happens.
And Timeless, and Legion, and I haven't even begun to watch season 3 of The Expanse yet. Cover Michael P's ears.
Maybe that's why I got canceled. Maybe it's because of you. They needed one more viewer.
What can I say?
Leonard, have you been watching Krypton?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
mostly because it's not over here yet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's gonna air on the E4.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I've been busy.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
I've been busy.
I still love you.
Yeah. Okay.
So what? As we have talked about, Designated Survivor, Quantico, Lucifer, Taken. An Exorcist, Alex Incorporated, Last Man on Earth, Scorpion, and the Mech.
That was
it's a big week. Week
with the cancellations. And next week, I suspect. Let me know, Andy. Going to have the same kind of thing going on next week.
What's happening next week? Oh yeah,
upfronts and cancellations.
Yeah. We'll try not to make this too long a show next week because we have got a special guest next week. But we are going to talk about what's come down the upfronts.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let's see. So in terms of what's actually happening, Lucifer on Monday is gonna have what turns out to be their season ending show will be airing on Monday. So if you do watch live,
Lucifer.
You can watch Lucifer. Tuesday, New Girl wraps up. Blacklist is going to end their season on on Wednesday.
Arrow
their
also.
5th season finale.
Yeah, very quickly. I know. Yeah, Andy's just mentioned about Arrow wrapping up. The press conference that was going out on Facebook Live, it was wrestling based. So,
Oh my God.
Moving on.
Jesus Christ, Stephen! On a Sunday on Mother's Day.
Yeah, exactly.
Good
exactly.
Lord.
Yeah. Go on, Alyssa. Carry on.
Sure. Let's see, BattleBots, which is kind of one of my favorite, one of those little funky fun favorite shows. I know, as Leonard is shaking his head. Designated Survivor, we're going to see one last time on ABC this week. And as you had mentioned, Thursday in the DC universe, Gotham and Arrow wrapping up their seasons.
Yes.
CW is wrapping up Supernatural too. So, and Friday Blind Spot, which did manage to get renewed, is coming on.
We know it's where it's going to air next season, so. Just 5 minutes before we started the show, guys, they released the NBC schedule for the fall.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Don't know where it's going to end up, but that the schedule that they released for the fall, I never take that to be too serious. I do the scheduling for this for the TV. Well,
who cares what they say?
Well, it doesn't matter. They don't have to be concrete until 2 weeks beforehand. That's when things get serious. And I never take my information from the listings where I take my information from until just before, because they're, there'll be a sports thing that drops in, or a public this or that, or a presidential announcement or something. Who knows what it is. But anyway, that's the one other thing. One other thing I wanted to mention, Fahrenheit 451 is airing on HBO on Saturday night. Saturday night?
That is the strangest positioning for that show for that
movie.
That is insane.
The only time I remember a show airing on Saturday was Smash on NBC, when they suddenly moved Saturday, be like, yeah, we're done with you. Air on Saturday.
Yeah.
But you know what? Can I be cheesy for a second? I kind of like when the shows get to air on the weekends.
I don't have a problem with it.
Needs an audience for a film like this. It needs an audience.
I know.
Because the thing is about this show, this film, and this story, you've got to know it. It's not something you're just going to look down the listings and go, oh, that sounds interesting. You've got to kind of know your sci-fi. You've got to have some history to it. And I'm wondering if it's been dumped. I'm wondering if it's just been put out there, which is harsh.
Yes. And that was the thing that, that was the feeling that I had gotten about it too. So I wasn't too sure about it, but that's, that for a chaotic week next week in television, there's a lot to set your DVRs for, and just double check it and make sure that things are, because you don't want to miss it. You don't want to have to, while I appreciate streaming, I like
You're old school. You're old school.
Well, it's big. I like big screen. I have a big screen TV. That's why I want to use it.
Yeah, humble brag much.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
What?
I'm sorry. I'm very hyper today. I'm kind of exhausted by myself. I'm sorry.
Yep. Right. Well, we'll wrap things up before we all start fading at the edges. Let's have a look. I did say on the description of the show that we were going to quickly talk about this, and I will quickly mention this, and I'll see what people's reactions are, because I was approached by the editor of Fandom to come up with my thoughts on what we could be seeing at San Diego Comic-Con regarding films. What franchises, what big movies we could be seeing represented at the show. And I basically typed this out. I'm thinking Mission Impossible Fallout might be pushed hard. Teen Titans Go will have a loyal fan base at San Diego Comic-Con. The Meg might represent in Hall H. If you can imagine Jason Statham walking out on stage, that could be quite huge. I feel that the Predator is going to be a lock, as is Venom, both possibly for the Saturday in Hall H. D23 is skipping a year, so Mary Poppins, Wreck-It Ralph, and Dumbo could be highlighted at a Disney panel, maybe even some Aladdin. It would be great to have Will Smith back. So much energy in the room.
Oh, I'm so nervous for that movie.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious about it for just the pure diversity issues of the whole thing. The Spider-Man Morales, I did mention that, but that's a little bit further down the line. As for the franchise stuff, Aquaman will represent for WB, as will Fantastic Beasts 2. That even may just make up the entire WB panel. Bumblebee might present, depending on how far they are in post-production. And I'm actually hoping that James Cameron is going to show up with some Alita, Battle Angel, or possibly some Avatar action, along with Robert Rodriguez, perhaps. Heaven knows he's got some bridge building to do with the nerds. As for myself, I really want to see some Artemis Fowl stuff, but that is going to be a long shot. It is in post-production as we speak.
Venom?
What's that, sorry?
Venom?
Venom, I said. Yeah, I think is locked for the Saturday. We've got people who are saying Harry Potter. Well, that's the Fantastic Beasts, so that's your Saturday morning, pretty much sorted. Shazam, yeah, that could be in your WB area. Is it WB?
It is WB New Line. So like they work together. So yeah, they're all the same company.
Yeah. So that's part of your 2-year production, a 2-hour production at the beginning on the Saturday. Owain Mason saying Godzilla 2, perhaps. Sarita P, The Lion King. Right. I think that's in pre-production at the moment, isn't it?
When is it supposed to come out? Is it next year?
I thought it was the year after. I thought it was Aladdin next year.
Like, I feel like they announced the whole cast and then nothing came out of it.
Yeah, that's where. Well, it's the same with Avatar. Dumbo, I think, if they, like I say, if Disney did a panel, Mary Poppins, Wreck-It Ralph 2, Dumbo, and Aladdin, I think those are the ones they're going to push.
Do you think Detective Pikachu will be there?
Sorry?
Detective Pikachu, the live-action Pokemon movie. What? What did I say? What?
Oh, dear Lord. Okay.
I'm not excited for that movie either.
Let me just kind of derail this here for a moment and go back to something that Dan said. The BAFTA Awards were just nominations, were just as Leonard throws his hands up.
Yeah, because it's another backslapping exercise. With the BAFTAs, I feel it's more lip service.
But Jodie Whittaker looks so pretty in her dress.
That's the thing. I think most people are interested about the BAFTAs, about how people are looking.
Well, in picture yourself being me.
I care as much about the BAFTAs as I do about the royal bloody wedding. So there you go. That's
wedding. You see, I didn't even mention that once, did I? Okay.
Whose wedding?
I don't know. Who knows? But I will say the Black Mirror got 3 nominations at the BAFTAs. So, you got to give it, as did The Crown, which is one series that I'm actually looking at watching because I do like that sort of thing. The Voice UK got nominated.
God almighty.
You guys have a voice? The Voice in the UK?
We have a voice, yes. We've got will.i.am on there and Tom Jones.
Remember when the UK ripped off America by doing The Office?
Is that what happened? We're rewriting history now. Okay.
Flashpoint.
Fair enough. Yeah, Flashpoint. Fair enough. Right. Okay. Let's wrap this up. So there we go. I think that's pretty much our show. I don't know. I mean, we kind of covered the week in TV that's coming up, but it's all about what's going to be coming up because we have got so much in terms of upfronts next week. So we are going to be touching on that, obviously. But all in all, it's going to be an interesting show next week because we've got ourselves a special guest as well. But we'll talk about that in a second. First things first, I just want to say thank you very much indeed to Alyssa, who looks like she has something to say. Go on, Alyssa.
Can you tell me about end of the bleeping world, and yes, I did just bleep myself, is that apparently there's a TV show that's been a drama series that's been nominated called End of the Effing
End of the
World.
bleeping, end of the effing world. It's a very black comedy. It's not bad actually. It's not a bad show.
Okay.
I'd recommend it.
Something, Lenny. What are you trying to hide?
I'm not hiding a thing.
Okay.
I'm not hiding a thing.
Well, this is just going over the BAFTA list of and liking to point out shows that may be of interest to all of us.
Sure.
So, and that was one of them. The Graham Norton show is also, I also find that one kind of fun on occasion.
I love Graham Norton.
Yes. Anyway, as you said, we're saying, Leonard, next week does look to be interesting. I am looking forward to talking with another producer of a local convention just to get
Indeed. This is in Intergalacticon, which is being held in San Diego. It's another show that is determined to bring back some of that original old school feeling of San Diego Comic-Con when it was smaller and more intimate. And it's covering more also the pop culture side. So it's letting San Diego Comic Fest do its comics and legacy element, and Intergalacticon is coming from the other side, as it were. It's looking good. It's going to be a show which has a lot of potential, and I'm looking forward to it. We've got Steve Kirk, who's going to be joining us next week to talk about that show. So
and a shout out to Aaron Naboo for introducing us. Absolutely. Thank you.
Double thumbs up, man. Double thumbs up.
Especially he's been battling a kidney infection.
Oh, no.
He's send good thoughts out to him, and I don't think he checked in this week, so I'm hoping I know he had to cancel his show that he was going to or presenting at this week.
Yeah.
So people can find me. People can find me at Friends of CCI for my Twitter handle and on my forum and Facebook. Oh God, I messed it up again. I was doing so well
Take two.
Every week.
No, every week. Last week I was really good, and the week before. Okay, you can find me on my site at friendsofcc.com. See you guys next week.
Brilliant. And Andy, thank you so much indeed for joining us as it's getting darker and darker where you are, man. Because I know that you're a little bit further ahead.
The sun is fading.
Bye. Yeah. So before you get plunged completely into darkness, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Where can people find you online at the moment? Because you're a busy boy.
I mean, that's not so much of a boy anymore. So, but first of all, thank you for having me. If I am ever invited again, I will do a pact to be less annoying because, yeah, I'm sorry, I was very hyper today. So, and I thought I could control myself by apparently again. So, people can find me on my public social media pages at Andy Behbahkt. I'm currently hosting the Flash podcast, Highest podcast, and the Sabrina podcast. I run the Mall Report, and I'm writing stuff for the hashtag show and one other site that I will announce tomorrow. So that's it.
Fair enough.
Hey, Alyssa, remember when you said I plug for 20 minutes?
Yeah.
How about them 20 minutes?
You know what?
On the Christmas show, she attacked me being like, he has, he's going to plug for 20 minutes. We're not going to get to go away anytime soon. I'm like, fine, just follow me on Twitter at Andy Behbahkt. That's it. And
you know what? You turned around and said that you've been incredibly hyper today, that you've been particularly, you know what? This has been one of your better shows. Thanks. Lots of love, Andy. Lots of love.
Thanks, I guess.
You've been great. You've been great. Anyway, thank you very much indeed for joining us. For myself, you can follow me at an Englishman SDCC on all the social medias. You can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. You can also keep up to date with what we're getting up to on our website. I'm going to do my best to post a whole bunch of stuff from the previous cons we've just done, and also some updates of what's going to be coming up, including some shows that are on the way. We can also announce something that I'll talk about very quickly about something that we announced on our social media last week. It's something we kind of alluded to on last week's show that yes, I am going to be joining the Comics Village panel hosting team of MCM Comic-Con here in the UK. This definitely means that which definitely means that I will be at London at the end of the month, where I'll be hosting a panel with 4 fantastic artists and creators, including some personal heroes of mine, Jeff Darrow, Liam Sharp. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're also going to be hosting a panel on the Friday, which Alyssa's going to be Skype contributing to. We're sorting out the technical issue as we speak, but we're doing an incidental episode of An Englishman in San Diego from MCM. So it's going to be a fun show. That's going to be on the Friday. Then I'm going to be at MCM London in October. Sorry?
Can I just say that it is guaranteed that that show will be under an hour?
Oh, yeah. It'll be 45 minutes because we'll get kicked out.
And I will be on. So, there you go.
Just so that everybody understands, Andy and I both got a message today saying it's going to be a short show today because he isn't feeling well. We're now at an hour and a half.
Guys, it is my fault.
Excuse me, Alyssa, for you and me, that is a short show. Anyway, right. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to be also at Manchester as well, but that's getting finalized. But for now, the London shows are locked. Looking forward to that. Looking very much forward to the October show. It's getting to seem that MCM are actually aiming to try and turn the MCM shows, certainly the London show, into the UK equivalent of New York Comic-Con, to the point of inviting guests that people could fly from the States to the UK to attend. We're talking some pretty high-profile guests, even on the comics side, and I'm going to be interviewing them, which is incredibly exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. So there we go. As always, if you want to support the Hangout, all of those comics, by the way, bought with my own money, earned from playing records at people. But if you want to support us with the Hangouts and keeping the lights on and allowing us to do what we do go to patreon.com/EnglishmanSDCC. Right, we out. Thank you very much indeed. Do take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Like I say, next week we are joined by Steve Kirk, who is the guy behind Intergalacticon, which I'm going to have to practice several times to make sure I don't get it wrong next week. So there we go. Looking forward to it. Do take care. Enjoy your royal wedding, everybody.
The royal wave.
Come on, Andy. The royal wave.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Take care, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Inhumans were royal.